Humans survived after their souls were scientifically removed. That sentence should be impossible. I know because I was there. I was one of the researchers who watched it happen. My name is Zeldar of the Collective Archives. I belong to a species that measures life through resonance. Every living thing produces a quantum imprint, a soul, if translated into human language. Without it, life ends. Always. No exceptions. For 12 million cycles, the law remained absolute. Then humans arrived. At first, they seemed insignificant. Soft bodies, fragile bones, short lifespans, emotional instability. The galaxy classified them as harmless labor mammals. I agreed. That was my first mistake. The second mistake came when we tried to understand them. The experiment began on Station 9. A human volunteer named Daniel Reed entered the extraction chamber. Humans volunteered for dangerous things constantly. I assumed it was a mating ritual. My colleagues agreed. We were wrong. The machine activated. His resonance detached from his body. The readings were perfect. Complete separation. No contamination. No residual imprint. The soul was gone. Daniel should have died instantly. Instead, he opened his eyes. Then he yawned. The laboratory became silent. I checked the instruments. Again and again. Nothing. The chamber showed zero resonance. The body remained alive. Impossible. Is something wrong? Daniel asked. His heartbeat remained stable. Brain activity normal. Motor functions normal. Everything normal. Except reality itself. The council arrived within hours. More tests followed. The results became worse. The human ate food, walked normally, solved equations, made jokes. He even complained about station coffee. I concluded humans must possess duplicate souls. A backup system. The theory sounded reasonable. It was completely wrong. Additional scans found nothing. No secondary resonance. No hidden imprint. No unknown energy source. Just a human. Alive without a soul. The council panicked. Entire branches of biology collapsed overnight. Religious orders declared the findings heresy. Markets crashed. Wars nearly started. Humans reacted differently. They laughed. I thought they were hiding fear. Later I realized humans often laugh when they are afraid, or confused, or excited, or injured, or dying. Human behavior made no sense. More volunteers arrived. Thousands. Every result matched. Soul removed. Human survives. Soul restored. Human survives. Soul stored separately. Human survives. One subject spent 3 weeks without a resonance imprint. 3 weeks. When his soul was returned, he asked if lunch was ready. I began having nightmares. The collective sent me to Earth. Officially, it was an observation assignment. Unofficially, they wanted answers. Earth was unpleasant. The planet appeared chaotic. Vehicles moved at dangerous speeds. Predators lived alongside prey. Governments argued constantly. Humans filled their world with controlled explosions and called it industry. Nothing about them felt stable. Yet somehow the species endured. I noticed a pattern. Humans always repaid debts. Not immediately, not predictably, but eventually. A favor. A sacrifice. An act of kindness. Humans remembered. Years later, they remembered. Decades later, they remembered. I concluded this behavior was economic. A primitive accounting system. I was wrong again. The answer would come much later. At the time, I focused on the soul mystery. Then the Karth Dominion attacked. Everything changed. The Karth were ancient, ruthless, efficient. They specialized in resonance warfare. Their weapons targeted souls directly. No shields could stop them. No fleet could resist them. Entire civilizations collapsed within days. Bodies remained intact. Souls vanished. The victims simply fell over, dead. The Dominion crossed 6 sectors in 4 months. Planet after planet surrendered. Resistance was useless. The galaxy prepared for extinction. Then the Karth reached human territory. I expected humans to die quickly. Everyone did. The first battle occurred near the Epsilon corridor. I watched from an observation vessel. The Karth deployed soul lances. Thousands of human soldiers collapsed. Their resonance signatures disappeared instantly. The Dominion celebrated. Victory seemed certain. Then something happened. The dead humans stood up, one by one, silently, methodically. Every soldier rose. The battlefield froze. Even the Karth stopped firing. The human formation resumed advancing. No panic, no confusion, just movement, steady movement. I felt genuine fear for the first time. The Karth unleashed another barrage. More souls vanished. More humans fell, then rose again. The impossible repeated itself. A Karth commander transmitted a message. I still remember his voice. What are they? Nobody answered. Because nobody knew. The battle ended with total Karth retreat. Human casualties exceeded 80%. Yet human forces remained operational. The reports spread across the galaxy. Panic followed. Not panic about the Karth. Panic about humans. Every civilization feared them now. What kind of species ignored soul death? What kind of creature functioned after spiritual annihilation? Theories multiplied. Some claimed humans were artificial. Others believed Earth existed outside reality. A few argued humans were unknowingly extinct. None explained the evidence. I traveled to the battlefield afterward. The wreckage drifted through space like broken bones. Human recovery teams searched the debris. One soldier caught my attention. His resonance remained absent, gone completely, yet he worked without difficulty. I approached carefully. "Are you alive?" I asked. The human stared at me, then laughed. Most days, I recorded the statement. For months I analyzed it. I never found a logical meaning. More battles followed. The pattern continued. Soul weapons failed. Human resistance grew. The Dominion began losing worlds. Then they changed strategy. That was when the real horror began. The Karth captured human souls instead of destroying them. Millions were taken, stored inside resonance vaults. Prisoners without bodies. The Dominion expected surrender. Any rational species would have surrendered. I expected surrender. Instead, humanity became angry. Not afraid. Not desperate. Angry. Entire fleets mobilized. Factories expanded overnight. Civilian vessels transformed into warships. Old enemies united. Political factions vanished. Humans became singular. Focused. Relentless. I misinterpreted it immediately. I believed they were fighting for survival. Every analyst believed the same thing. We thought humanity feared extinction. We were looking at the wrong thing. Humans were not fighting for themselves. They were fighting for the millions trapped inside Karth vaults. The stolen souls. The lost. The missing. The dead. At the time, I did not understand. I only saw the results. Human fleets pushed deeper into Dominion space. Every victory increased their momentum. Every loss increased their determination. The war transformed them. Something ancient awakened beneath their fragile appearance. Something patient. Something terrifying. Then the Karth made a mistake so catastrophic that historians still struggle to describe it. They captured a small colony world. Nothing special. Just 40,000 human settlers. Farmers. Engineers. Families. The Dominion considered it insignificant. They never discovered who those settlers were, or what humanity owed them. And when the news reached Earth, I watched an entire species go silent. Not angry, not grieving, silent. That silence frightened me more than any battle, because for the first time, I realized humanity was preparing to repay a debt. And the galaxy had no idea what that truly meant. Humanity was preparing to repay a debt. At first, that sounded harmless, even noble. I was still thinking like an alien. I still believed debts involved numbers, resources, favors, trade. I did not understand humans. Not yet. The captured colony was called Haven 17, a remote agricultural world. 40,000 settlers. Nothing strategic, nothing valuable. At least, that was what every intelligence report claimed. The reports were wrong. The truth emerged 3 days later. A historian from Earth addressed the Galactic Council. The chamber expected military plans. Instead, she showed old records, images, names, faces, thousands of faces. The settlers of Haven 17 were descendants of the first recovery. Nobody knew what that meant. Then she explained, 2 centuries earlier, Earth had suffered a planetary disaster. A fusion cascade. Entire continents had nearly died. Civilization stood on the edge of collapse. The world should have ended, but millions survived because ordinary people sacrificed everything. Farmers gave food. Workers gave shelter. Scientists gave their lives. Strangers saved strangers. The survivors never forgot. Generations later, they still remembered. Every family on Haven, 17, descended from those forgotten heroes. The descendants carry the names, the records, the stories, the debt. The historian ended her speech with one sentence. "We are going to bring them home." The transmission ended. The council laughed. I laughed too. The Karth Dominion controlled half the galaxy. Nobody simply brought prisoners home. Nobody challenged an empire for 40,000 civilians. Nobody risked extinction for a debt centuries old. Humanity did. The next week changed history. Every human fleet vanished. Not destroyed. Vanished. Sensors lost them. Spies lost them. Even human allies lost them. Entire armadas disappeared into deep space. Confusion spread everywhere. I concluded humanity was retreating. It seemed logical. For once, I wanted to be correct. I wasn't. 3 weeks later, the first Karth fortress exploded. Not attacked. Exploded. No warning. No battle. Just gone. Then another. And another. 27 military installations vanished within 48 hours. The Dominion panicked. Nobody understood how. Neither did I. Then the recordings arrived. Human ships were doing something impossible. Again, they were navigating through dead space. Every civilization avoided dead space. It was not empty. It was wrong. Physics behaved unpredictably. Navigation failed. Time distorted. Entire fleets disappeared forever. The region was considered impassable. Humans entered it willingly. Thousands of ships. No hesitation. I assumed they were desperate. I later learned the truth. They had mapped dead space decades earlier. Secretly, patiently, quietly, preparing for a day they hoped would never come. A day when someone they owed needed saving. The realization unsettled me. Humans planned for debts the way other species planned for wars. The Dominion finally located the missing fleets. Too late. Human forces emerged directly above the Karth capital. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The capital had never been breached. Its defenses were legendary. Its fleets numbered in the millions. None of it mattered. Humanity did not attack the fleet. They ignored it. They did not attack military stations. They ignored those too. Every ship accelerated toward a single destination. The soul vaults. The prison complex holding millions of stolen souls. I watched the battle unfold. If battle was even the right word. Humans fought like creatures possessed. Ships burned. Fleets shattered. Entire squadrons sacrificed themselves. Nothing slowed them. Nothing. A human cruiser lost 90% of its hull. It kept advancing. A destroyer split in half. Both have continued firing. I thought their behavior irrational. Then I remember the pattern. Debt. Always debt. The closer they came to the vaults, the harder they fought. As if distance itself mattered. As if every meter carried meaning. The Dominion understood eventually. They broadcast a threat. Destroy the vaults. Kill every captured soul. End a rescue forever. The galaxy expected humanity to surrender. I expected surrender. The threat was absolute. If the vaults were destroyed, millions would be lost forever. Humanity paused for exactly 12 seconds. Then they accelerated straight toward the vaults. The Dominion commanders were stunned. So was I. Why continue? Why risk everything? The answer arrived moments later. The Karth activated the destruction sequence. Millions of souls began collapsing, erasing, dissolving. Even from orbit, the resonance shockwaves were visible. I expected horror, despair, defeat. Instead, every human ship transmitted the same signal. A signal older than the war, older than interstellar travel, older than most nations. One sentence. We're here. That was all. We're here. The message repeated across every channel, every frequency, every system. I did not understand. Then the impossible happened again. The trapped souls responded. Millions of resonance signatures awakened simultaneously. The vaults shook. Reality bent. The prisoners should have been helpless. Instead, they fought. From inside, the souls resisted destruction, not because they were powerful, because they were human. The vault structures began failing. Containment fields collapsed. Resonance barriers shattered. The Karth screamed across emergency channels. Their systems were malfunctioning. Their technology was breaking. The souls were refusing to die. I know how absurd that sounds. Believe me, I was there. The vaults exploded. Not outward, inward. Millions of souls escaped. The sky became light. Endless light. Brighter than stars. The freed resonance signatures crossed space instantly. Returning to waiting bodies. Returning to Earth. Returning home. The Dominion's greatest weapon died in a single moment. The war ended soon afterward, but the final revelation came later. Months later, after the celebrations, after the treaties, after the rebuilding, I was granted access to classified human records. I finally learned the truth about the soul experiments. Humans had never been surviving without souls. Not exactly. The reality was worse. Far worse. Human consciousness existed in two places simultaneously. One part attached to the soul, the other embedded inside the brain. Neither side was complete. Neither side was independent. But both could continue briefly without the other. No species in known history possessed such redundancy. Humans were not ignoring soul death. They were surviving long enough to fight their way back. The discovery horrified the scientific community. It explained everything. Their impossible resilience. Their resistance to resonance weapons. Their refusal to stay dead. The universe had accidentally built a species with two anchors to existence. One physical, one spiritual. Destroying one was not enough. You had to destroy both. And by then, humans were usually very angry. Years passed. Peace returned. Mostly, the Dominion collapsed. Humanity became one of the strongest powers in known space. Yet what stayed with me was not their strength, not their technology, not their impossible biology. It was Haven 17. I eventually visited the colony after its liberation. The settlers had returned. Families reunited. Children laughed in the streets. Life continued. I found a memorial near the center of town. 40,000 names. Every captive, every survivor, every ancestor who had once saved Earth centuries before. A young human noticed me staring. She asked if I understood the monument. I told her no. At least, not completely. She smiled. We just paid them back. Then she walked away, as humans always do, leaving mysteries behind them. I stood there for a long time, thinking, remembering, trying to understand. I never succeeded. I do not think any alien ever will. Because humans live by rules older than logic, older than survival, older than fear. They remember kindness. They remember sacrifice. And eventually, somehow, they always repay their debts. The galaxy feared humans because they could survive without their souls. That was a mistake. The truly terrifying thing was much simpler. If a human ever owes you their life, they will cross hell itself to repay it. And if you threaten the ones they owe, even reality may not survive the collection, because humans never survived after their souls were removed. The truth was far worse. Their souls survived after humanity refused to die. If you enjoyed this HFY sci-fi story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more epic human versus galaxy stories. Tell us in the comments, if humanity ever owed you a debt, would you trust them to repay it?